Technology has made content creation effortless, but it also has made deception effortless. You don't know what exactly is truth, what exactly is misinformation, and is it coming from a real source or is it just AI generated. And in this world where deepfakes are rampant, we get to see that the lines between truth and misinformation are absolutely blurry. And that is why we get to see this erosion of trust is not only for society, it is also for the democracy. And that's why India has decided to mark this strategic shift from warnings to enforceable rules for regulating AI generated content. Hello everyone, welcome to Vajram and Ravi's Flash News. My name is Shubhangi Singh, and in today's session we will be talking about these new enforceable rules for the first time where India has brought to not just regulate, monitor but also label AI content so as to ensure that this deception which is weakening the democracy, which is threatening the society, is taken away. So let us talk about that. So when we are talking about the AI generated deepfake content or AI generated content, what we get to see for that there are proper new online rules which will compel not only social media companies but anyone who is using AI generated content for proper labeling, and also there have been enforceable rules to ensure that if there is any harmful content at all, it is taken down within a given timeline itself. So now let us understand the details that have been brought out, starting with that what exactly has been done. So there are two major things that have been done. First, we are seeing the framework has been amended. Which framework? I am talking about Information Technology Amendment Rules of 2026 about intermediary guidelines and digital media ethics code. So this has been amendments have been added to this, and this will be effective from this very month of February 2026 from date 20. Now when we are talking about this change, we have to give it to the change because this is the first time that when we are talking about AI generated and digital ethics, this is the first statutory regulation that has come out, especially when we are talking about AI generated content. Now this is the part of framework amendment. There has been another component to the addressal, that is about the structural shift. Now, in this amendment, the most important thing that has come out is the proper statutory definition of SGI. What do we mean by SGI? Synthetically generated information. Now, any information that has been generated using digital means, artificial intelligence, that has been given a proper definition. We will be moving towards that. There is a direct provision that there will be mandatory labeling and also traceability from where this content is coming from. And when we are talking about compliance, the compliance has been put in a proper timeline so as to ensure grievance redressal, and the liability has been directly put on intermediaries as well as senior officers. All in all, who will be responsible? It would be Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and the appellate oversight would be maintained by Grievance Appellate Committee here. Now when we are talking about these very changes, the first important thing that comes is to understand that what exactly is SGI which has been defined. When we are talking about synthetically generated information, it basically refers to, as I said, any information that has been generated using digital means. It can be the deepfake videos, it can be AI generated audio, AI manipulated visuals which have been created, or AI generated textual content is also part of SGI as it has been defined. However, there have been clear exemptions as well. For example, if there is a routine technical edit, for example, an image has been color corrected, or an image has been compressed, or a video has been edited in terms of noise reduction or noise enhancement, that will not be counted in SGI. Apart from that, other things such as translation without change in any meaning. For example, we are changing the language. So let's just say the audio is in English, but the translation and the titles which are coming, they are in another language. In that scenario also, it is exempted. Other than that, if there is a hypothetical scenario or illustrative draft, for example, I want to explain you origination of earthquake. So if it is illustrative draft, then it will be exempted. Now this is of absolute significance because of clear definition here, what exactly is SGI and what is not. There will be a proper understanding and there will be no ambiguity or confusion at all around it. That means whoever wants to regulate this, whoever wants to understand this, the one who is ensuring grievance redressal, they know where to put which generated content in which side. And this will be objective in nature. That means it will not vary for person to person. This is very clear. If it falls in the category of list of SGI, then it needs to be mandated, it needs to be regulated. If not, then it will be on the other scenario. Now, this will also help directly in prosecution if any misuse is happening. If we do not know what is SGI, what is not, then how will we ensure prosecution? So this will be this is an important step so as to ensure that actually the regulation and prosecution, if at all there is misuse, that can be done. Now in this context, the most important thing comes that what are the new rules. So now let us straight up move to understand the rules. So when we are talking about the whole AI content regulation, there are three important components to this. The first is mandatory labeling of the AI content. So whoever is the user, they have to declare if they are putting up any AI generated content before posting. And whenever you are putting on your post, photo or video, that disclosure has to be very clear, prominent and visible. So there has to be a proper warning label that this is a AI generated content. Now it is not just on the user, it is also the platform as well, that the platform will be responsible for detecting AI using automated tools. Platform will be responsible for checking the format, the source and digital patterns of the user, and the platforms have to provide these labels which will be put on the post, photos, videos that this is AI generated. Furthermore, technical safeguards have also been talked about. For example, persistent metadata would exist, there will be unique identifiers of AI generated content, and labels will be irremovable. If anybody wants to remove the label of AI generated content, they cannot do that. And most importantly, if this does not happen, that means the user or the platform, if they are not complying with it, then they will see loss of the safe harbor protection that they are getting. So we get to see not just the rules, but ensurance that there will be compliance, and if not, this is the form of punishment or payback or fine that will be seen. Now this was the first component. If we are talking about the second component, we get to see there will be traceability and also enforcement. For example, when we are talking about content, it will run through metadata and then identification will take place. So there will be proper identification in terms of where the content has originated from. After that, the identification will be done of what AI tool has been used, and the creator declaration that will also be recorded. Has the creator declared that this is AI created, AI generated or not? And this will be absolutely important in order to bring strict action for misuse, which is usually seen in child abuse material, obscene content, impersonation or fake electronic records generation, and also explosive related content. So this will help in ensuring that there is no misuse in this regard, and as I said, it will be enforced by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, and the appellate jurisdiction has been given to Grievance Appellate Committee. Now there is a third dimension as well to it, which is regarding the tight timeline. There is a proper 3-hour takedown rule. That means the harmful content will be removed in 3 hours, which was previously 36 hours. The acknowledgement would be done within 2 hours and the final resolution will be given in 7 days. But if there is any harmful content, it will be removed in 3 hours and the grievance acknowledgement would be provided within 12 hours itself. So as a result, what we will see that we are getting faster removal of harmful content. There will be 24/7 monitoring of the platforms and the strictest timelines that we have present across the globe will be implemented in India. So that clearly shows that we are marking a strategic shift, not just warning and making awareness about AI generated content, but regulating it as well. Now on this very note, it also becomes very important to look into that why this has happened. Now this has happened because there has been a recent surge in deepfake incidents and this is also associated with electoral and democratic risk. Political misinformation can be spread very easily. If there is no bifurcation between AI generated content and what is not, then the spread of deception and misinformation and what it can lead to is huge. The risks associated with it are huge. And the campaign videos can be manipulated, synthetic propaganda can be brought in, and that is not limited to the electoral risk, but when we are talking about countries, then the propaganda from external powers can also be brought in here. Apart from that, we have also seen in recent times that AI generated content is heavily tied with national security concerns as well, such as fake military announcements, communal provocation which can lead to communal tensions and risk of riots as well, and other than that, market manipulation such as announcement related to the markets, hype in the market, changes in the rates and whatnot. Now the problems were many, and as a solution, when platforms were expected to regulate this, there was a huge gap around it as well, because platforms had delayed takedown, there were ineffective voluntary measures or compliance done by the platforms, and that is why state had to step in form of a regulation and rules for intervention and also mandation. And when we are talking about these new rules, we have to understand that India is not the first one. Across the globe, be it European Union, be it China, USA, they have already brought in such safeguards, where European Union has also an AI Act in place which ensures risk-based AI classification and transparency obligations as well. Then we have China with mandatory watermarking of AI content, and USA as of now has only executive level AI safety guardings as of now. Furthermore, when we are looking at the comparison, India has come out distinctive in this, because this 3-hour timeline takedown rule is ultra short. It is not seen anywhere. We have combined transparency, but we have brought in liability with it itself, and we have a proper traceability architecture with it. So this can be an example where India emerges as a rule shaping digital power. But the only problem remains here is if at all this is executed, because challenges in terms of infrastructure and manpower remain limited. Can you tell me in the comment section, what are the challenges do you think that India will face in terms of implementation of these new rules that have been brought in for AI generated content? Because when we are talking about such a new shift, we do expect some positive outcomes such as increased transparency, deterrence via traceability, faster harm mitigation. If any harm is caused, it can be removed, it can be mitigated in a given timeline, and platforms have also been roped in for accountability with proper rules. And there will be a proper institutional mechanism for AI governance. But as I said, challenges and concerns are equally many, and if they are not addressed, then the positive outcomes would be negligible or limited. When we are talking about labeling and traceability, it might lead to over-censorship, which is harmful for the democracy. If we are talking about over-censorship, we have to talk about the fundamental rights. We have to look into false positive that might come in AI detection and how it will impact the small platforms, the small content creators. So, It brings us to the debate where we place privacy on one side and traceability tension on the other side. So, fundamental rights versus national security, the debate between privacy and traceability, what rights government, state should have and what rights public or citizen should have. Now, on this note, I will be leaving you with yet another question. I have some way forwards here, but as I asked, drop me in the challenges that you think that will be presented and how that they can be addressed. That was all from my side. Thank you so much.